if you haven't mastered female nature, you have no idea what you're doing in terms of making sure that your woman or women are emotionally fulfilled at all times. Our job as men is to have a family, an amazing family where the woman or women have absolute amazing emotional fulfillment going on sustainably for the rest of their lives. This is the Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Today you are receiving my story of how Men of High Value and the 3 in Love movement came about. And it all started with me being the youngest of 8 children, receiving tons of love, tons of encouragement, tons of support from my entire family, being the youngest, and as a result, I felt pretty good. And because of that, I was emotionally fulfilled, and because of that, I was pretty obedient. I basically lived my life by the book, meaning it was a big religious family, and I wanted to make sure that I did my part in doing the right thing at all times. I had a small blip of rebelliousness when I was 14 just to taste what the other side was like. However, I did not like it. So at age 14, I basically said, I'm going to start being obedient again. And I continued on that path. I turned 19 years old, and at this moment, I had been together with a girlfriend for approximately a year and a half. She dumped me. Now, that was quite an interesting experience, and I was very heartbroken at the time. But what I figured out, if I just put in massive amounts of work, I'm gonna find someone better. And guess what? Someone better did came along. But guess what happened then? She dumped me too. And I continued with one more time. Another girl dumped me again. This was quite interesting to me that 3 girls in a row in less than 3.5 years would dump me. Why? I was basically living by the book, okay? What does that mean? I was basically using all of the information that I had available to me, including all religious experience and information, including my parents' information, and including my brothers and everything I knew to be correct about women. It didn't work, and I found out that I was the common denominator, but I didn't find that out before way later. Now, all of these stories about those 3 times me being dumped, all of that is recorded in my first ever 7 videos made on this channel, which was taped approximately 4 years ago. Next month is gonna be 4 years with this channel. It's absolutely amazing. And you know what? I encourage you to watch 2 videos a day. Just from the beginning, it'll take you 2 years to finish, pretty much, but eventually you'll get through all of my videos and you'll understand the philosophy to a T. Moving on, as I now entered into an almost new relationship with my now wife, at that time I was interested in her, but I was also interested in another girl. And it was very interesting to see how, because I was interested in one girl, the other girl was more interested in me, and so my value in many ways went up. But being a good boy, being a good guy, and obedient and following the book, I couldn't basically, have both of them, right? So I had to choose, and I chose one, and that was my wife. And I began to pursue her, and eventually, very quickly, as we became an item, 6 weeks later we became engaged. 6 weeks later after that, we actually got married, and 6 weeks after that, she became pregnant with our firstborn child. 9 months later, he was born, and then 18 months later, we got baby number 2. This is all an important part of the story because at this moment in time, my wife, after 2.5 years we'd been together approximately, she now suddenly told me that I don't want to divorce you. Now, if we fast track a little bit, what happened? How did it actually come about that we became an item and it kind of sped really quickly towards marriage? There was one time where I told her, I don't break up with people. And I had explained all those times that I'd been dumped in the past, and that's what I told her. And guess what she replied? She said, I don't break up with people either. I guess it's us then. And that's basically how it turned out to be. And we're still together now, having been together for 12 years and have 3 kids in total. Now, what happened? She said she did not want to divorce me. Where did that come from? I did not understand, because from my understanding, we had a great relationship. We were having 2 kids and life was okay. I was working hard. I was trying to do my best, but we were still, lower middle class poor, and it was not really the lifestyle that she was hoping for. I mean, what can we expect? We just started out a new family, right? But that's how it was. But it didn't make any sense to me that she would not be attracted to me anymore because she used to be attracted to me in the past. So what happened? So at this moment in time, understanding that I had been dumped so many times before, and now she was telling me that she did not want to divorce me, that just got me to really sit down and sit her down and ask the question, I want to know everything. I want to know the good, the bad, the ugly. Give it to me. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to care. I just want to know. Like, this doesn't make any sense. And she began to tell me everything. I wanted to understand what I was doing wrong. I wanted to understand what I was doing right. And I also wanted to understand her. I wanted to see what is it that she needed for me to do and forget about everything that I've heard when it comes to women. I wanted to know from her. Now, obviously, you should never take relationship advice from women, but this is what I did at the time. And I was trying to really figure it out. Now, fortunately, we have an amazing invention called the internet. And I spent all of my time that I was not working scouring through the internet, and she was also doing the exact same thing because she was trying to understand herself. She didn't understand why she was going through all of these emotional things and why she was maybe considering potentially of leaving me. She didn't want to do that. She wanted to, because her parents had been divorced in the past and she did not want to go through that as well, especially us having had kids already. So we basically started a quest 10 years ago of trying to figure out what is it that emotionally fulfills women and how can we make sure that there's a system in place so that they can be sustainably fulfilled for the rest of their lives, because we didn't have that. Remember, I was following everything by the book and it was not working. If it had worked, then she would have never said those words. If all of the stuff that I knew about women had worked, and I had studied throughout my teenage years as well because I wanted to become the best father and husband in the world. If it had worked, I would not have been dumped. So I needed a foolproof system that could teach me about the woman how not to get dumped. I have that system today. It's flippin' awesome. So, what is it that we learned? Well, we learned about masculinity. We learned about femininity and the polarity, how crucial it is. And we had to redefine masculinity and femininity for both genders. How does it work? Why does it work? We also had the aspect of understanding the attraction, myself, what I'm attracted to as a man, but she also had to understand what she is attracted to, and I had to understand what she's attracted to as well. We had to understand the provision aspect, the protection aspect, and we also had to understand how women want to have lots and lots of fun. Now, this is not something that I could really give her much of because I had given her 2 kids, not much money, while at the same time trying to build a business. I was having a full-time job and trying to build businesses on the side because I wanted to get rich. I don't know about you, but I've always grown up with the desire to create massive amounts of wealth, and I hadn't done that yet. And so I was working extremely hard, trying to, for one, support a family, trying to make use of the education that I'd gotten, which was absolutely ridiculous, and I regret every single minute that I spent in any formal education. And not only that, but I was failing and eventually succeeding with multiple businesses throughout this entire time. I can even mention all of these. I was a sales rep for a gym for 2.5 years. I was a metro driver, okay, full time, waking up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, being a metro driver 5 years. In addition to that, I also drove lots and lots of Uber and also drove lots and lots of DHL. In addition to that, I had a rental van business. I also had an Airbnb arbitrage business. And in addition to this, eventually 4 years ago, I started my YouTube and my coaching business that has now become Men of High Value and 3 in Love. And I fortunately managed to quit working for a boss when I left the metro job when I was 30 years old. Today I'm 36. So that's the story. And what have we come to figure out? We've come to figure out that the universe has a perfect system for us. The system is perfect. In many ways, that's the most important thing that you need to know. The moral of the story is, number 1, women are a little bit more complex than men. And if you haven't mastered female nature, you have no idea what you're doing in terms of making sure that your woman or women are emotionally fulfilled at all times. Our job as men is to have a family, an amazing family where the woman or women have absolute amazing emotional fulfillment going on sustainably for the rest of their lives. The reason why I'm mentioning or women is because we figured out that monogamy actually is not optimal for life satisfaction, neither for the man nor the women. It's not possible for you to have optimal life satisfaction in monogamy. How did we figure that out? Well, one, I started a family way too soon. I had no idea that it's absolutely the best thing to prioritize building up your financial foundation first. Just make a massively strong financial foundation first before you have any woman along the way. Deprioritize women as much as you possibly can. I did not do this. Let me give you an example. In the book, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, chapter 11, he talks about sex transmutation. But guess what? In one of those subsections of that chapter, he says why seldom happens that men get rich before the age of 40 or something like that. And basically what he goes through in that chapter is that it doesn't happen very often. That's just history. We can look through all of the different very, very successful and rich men throughout the ages. They seldom succeed before 40. Now in this book, he basically said that was because they were, sowing their wild oats, whatever. But no, okay? It's not very clear, but I know the reason why that happens. In the 1920s, it was a way more religious time than it is today. And back then, what were they encouraged to do? All men everywhere were encouraged to get married ASAP. Get a woman as soon as possible, and if you do that, guess what? There was no birth control, so they would get married at probably age 20, 21, 22, and the girl would be 18, 19, 20, whatever. And then what would happen in the next couple of years? No birth control, there will be babies. At this moment in time, the man has just started out his career. He's tried to work maybe throughout his youth, but they were working very poor jobs back then. There was no way that he could have a massively strong financial foundation on average at the age of 22. In this day and age, where we've got the internet, okay, it's a completely different story. Back then, you had a kid, you had a second kid, and maybe a third or a fourth kid. You'd have to basically wait until those kids became of kind of teenage years so that the woman could handle them all on their own, while the man is actually now able to properly focus on building his business. This is the type of mindset you need to have of deprioritizing women completely and making sure that you don't have any kids and you don't date and you don't have sexual needs and all that crap. It's not time yet. Instead, if you just choose to stop dating and start focusing on building wealth, building a massively strong financial foundation, it changes the outlook for everything. One, you get rich when you're young. That's awesome. You use your sexual energy towards becoming obsessed about riches instead of being obsessed about the physical expression of sexuality. And number three, you get better women. The women that you could get right now, like no offense, but they suck compared to the women that you can get once you've established a massively strong foundation, gone through tons of hardship, gone through tons of rejection as kind of your war that you're going through, and then when you come home, you're just completely different human being. And the women are just like, wow, this is amazing. This is the kind of guy that you want to become. I did not have that set up. You have a way better situation than me, and I'm basically helping you to understand, to not go through the same mistakes that I did while still being a good guy and not sleeping around with women nonsoever, because that just destroys society, and we can see that quite clearly. So as So now you understand what the process is. You don't get women right away like I did. You don't try to build have a job, try to support her while at the same time trying to build a business. No, if you just take away the female aspect out of there, it's just you, tunnel vision focused, having 3 jobs in the beginning until you have a nice financial buffer. You start a business on the side to get rid of one job, and then you reinvest your time into the business, and then you quit the second job, and then you know what? After 12 to 24 to absolute maximum 36 months, it'll probably take you 12 months if you got me as a coach, but after 36 months, you are financially free, never ever needing to have a job ever again in your life. Ever again in your life. And what do I mean by having a job? Obviously, if you have a business, you're self-employed and you've got clients, that kind of having a job and having bosses, obviously. But it's not you taking orders from anyone. When you have your own business, you don't have to serve that client. That's your choice. But when you're hired by someone and you've got a boss, you got to take all clients and you got to work with all types of crap that you have to do when you're an employee. So, having said that, how have things changed now? Well, I'm helping you guys to understand, to get true life satisfaction, you need 3 women. We only had 1. So, I only had 1. But once you understand that you need 3, it kind of fires you up a little bit. You begin to look at your situation in a different way, like, whoa, you're saying that if I can build up my financial foundation, I can have 3 of them? Absolutely. And it's easy, and it's for the taking, and you just simply need to master female nature. This is what I did over the past 10 years of trying to figure out my wife. It was like, how do I help her to get emotional fulfillment? How do we know that this works? Because we've used the art of deduction, okay? We know for sure that monogamy doesn't work if a man wants to get flippin' stinking rich and he wants his wife to be emotionally fulfilled at all times continuously throughout that journey. Because this journey is going to be a very difficult journey for guys to go through in terms of getting failure after failure after failure, rejection after rejection after rejection, while at the same time being gone from home the vast majority of the time. We're talking the 80-hour work week for several years. A woman, even if she doesn't have any kids, it's burdensome. But if she has kids, it's even worse. So you don't want to put a woman through that predicament. However, you are not leaving her behind if she has 2 best friends to spend her life with. Not only is that fantastic for her because they're going to be harmoniously living together under the same roof, while you as the man make sure that they are harmonious through the system that I teach in my program. Once that is in place, you actually can do the 80-hour work week knowing full well that your women are well taken care of at home because they take care of each other. It's beautiful. And then they take care of the kids once they come along, and you don't have to worry that the children are not being taken care of, or that you have to put them for them to go to school or kindergarten being taken care of by government employees. I'd never want that for my kids. All of that is up for grabs. The biggest problem in business is not being able to get rid of distractions. That's what I help guys do. Help to get rid of distractions so there's nothing there except for the obsession of getting filthy stinking rich from this specific business, that whatever you've chosen, okay? And it works for everybody that wants to work it, no matter what it is, because that's how success works. You get obsessed about it, you have a problem that the public has, and a lot of people have that problem. You now go in there and use your massive brain power and massive work ethic and your network to be able to figure out solutions so that they can have their problems solved. Once their problems are solved, you just simply make a lot of money. Because you've now provided massive value for them. They now provide massive value back to you. And there you have it. Your huge, massive financial foundation, or your massive 6 and 7 figure net worth as a natural result. Now, okay, you can build it to however much you want. Now you can multiply that. Yes, you can actually become a billionaire in the three in love lifestyle. Why? Because you don't have to have the headache of monogamy like I've had. But you need to master female nature. That's what I wanted to share with you guys today. I hope you got massive value out of this video. This is my story of how we came about to create this movement. I simply just want families to function. I simply want to see that men are emotionally fulfilled, doing their purpose, fulfilling their mission of saving the planet in whatever shape or form, while at the same time having a loyal and beautiful 3-in-love family in the home waiting for him at home to reward him when he comes home. And once he does come home, they're already taken care of. There's not just a bunch of headaches from the kids and, oh, hurry up, you need to help me to change this diaper and vacuum the floor and do the dishes before your parents-in-law comes here. Whatever. No, it's not like that anymore. You can actually focus on the things that you enjoy doing while having these amazing women, and they can actually get to do what they want to do, and they never have to work outside the home another day of their lives, because the financials, who's taking care of that? You have. This is the Men of High Value channel, but it's a movement, and we're going together in the same direction. Make sure you DM me on Instagram at Men of High Value. I'm excited to talk to you. I'll talk to you in the next one.